10 great events in history. What we are going to tell about right now happened a long time ago, or events that, as the title says, marked great events for the world. 1. William the Conqueror defeat Harold in the Battle of Hastings, -1066. Possibly the most famous date in English history. Most people can relate the year 1066 to the Battle of Hastings. Whether or not King Harold actually died of a crush in the eye, England was transformed by the events of the day on the East Sussex battlefield. William's victory at Hastings earned him the nickname the Conqueror. He was crowned for Christmas, and Norman influence spread throughout the country. 2. The sealing of the Magna Charta, -1215. The fame of the Magna Carta, or Great Carta, does not lie in its impact, which was actually relatively small, but in its legacy. Imposed on King John by his barons in an attempt to limit his power, the initial letter was quickly annulled. Reissued by his son after his death, his idea lasted, and today it is considered an example of the principles of law, human rights and justice. 3. The plague, Black Death, arrives in England, -1346. It is difficult to imagine the terror that must have invaded the inhabitants of England when the Black Death swept through the country. More than a quarter of the population is believed to have died, devastating towns and cities. The plague had a profound impact on society, leading to relative peace for a time and providing wage increases to the surviving peasants, paving the way for the peasant revolt and helping to end serfdom. 4. The War of the Roses begins, -1455. Less than 100 years after the Black Death, England again suffered a dramatic seizure, this time man-made. The Wars of the Roses, fought between the two mighty houses of York and Lancaster, pitted the families against each other. Following the removal of King Henry VI, the country faced 3 decades of rebellions and conspiracies. This only ended when Henry Tudor defeated Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth in 1485, which marked the beginning of the Tudor era. 5. William Shakespeare was born, -1564. More than 1,000 words of the English language are used today thanks to William Shakespeare, and phrases from his plays are still routinely used in everyday conversation. Not only is his language important, he was the great entertainer of his time, writing for ordinary people at a time when theater was popular entertainment for all. Elizabeth may have been queen for much of her life, but it was Shakespeare who wrote much of the story. 6. Guy Fawkes and the Powder Plot discovered, -1605. The Gunpowder Plot, an attempt by Catholic conspirators to assassinate King James I, might have been successful were it not for the belated warning of an anonymous letter. The plot is remembered with the rhyme remember, remember, November 5th, and the day it was discovered is still commemorated today with bonfires and fireworks. 7. The Battle of Waterloo, -1815. The Battle of Waterloo was the last confrontation after years of war between the European nations and the French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte. The Allied forces, led by the Duke of Wellington, who described the battle as a bloody long-distance race, defeated Napoleon's imperial ambitions. This led to peace in Europe for the next several years and kept end centuries of conflict between England and France. 8. Queen Victoria becomes queen, -1837. Relatively few English kings or queens define their age, but the Victorian era is known to all of us. Reigning for over 60 years, Victoria's reign witnessed enormous changes that transformed Britain. The Industrial Revolution and cultural and scientific discoveries contributed to changing the way of life of people around the world, many of them due to direct links with the growth of the British Empire. At its center was Victoria, a symbol for the people over which she ruled. 9. The VE marks the end of World War II, -1945. The two world wars shattered peace in Europe and, for the first time, citizens were affected by air warfare. Britain had to cope with heavy losses, air raids, rationing, and other difficulties during the long years of war. When the Allies accepted Germany's unconditional surrender in May 1945, it was marked by cheering crowds and street celebrations across the country. 10. Tim Berners-Lee invent the World Wide Web, Internet, -1989. Few inventions have changed our lives as much as the Internet. When Tim Berners-Lee proposed a new information management system at CRAN in 1989, it was hard to imagine the impact it would have, connecting the world and sharing information in a way never before done. If these facts are interesting and amazing, in any case they mark the history that has not stopped being written.